I just want to mention one thing. Collectively, we've covered about 450,000 kilometres. Now, if you or I were to do that,
Dog.
this is what I've had.
Dog.
This is
Dog.
this is what I've had to work with. G'day and welcome to another Mongrel Dog production. And welcome to Ridge Rider 3, a fully supported motorcycle adventure going from Toowoomba in southeast Queensland all the way up to Townsville, a distance of about 2,000 kilometres, zigzagging over the Great Dividing Range. 170 riders. Not all are going to finish. Grab your gear. Let's go. Well, most of the support crew have come from all parts of Australia to support this activity. I've just arrived at the Gold Coast after travelling from Perth, Melbourne, Gold Coast, and just got to wait now for Jay and the rest of the convoy to come and collect me. I don't think they're far away. Ridge Rider 3 is the third instalment of a fully supported adventure motorcycle tour taking riders along the entire length of the Great Dividing Range, which follows the eastern seaboard of Australia's mainland. All riders' bikes are scrutineered and checked over to make sure they are up to the task of completing what can be 5 days of varied terrain and riding conditions. This includes the fitting of more suitable off-road tyres. Just down here at the rider training area, setting it up for the training which commences tomorrow and finishes the following day. The optional 2 days of rider training prior to the event is designed to give newcomers to adventure riding the confidence to complete the event and those who are experienced riders to hone their existing skills.
Over this round, I go through all these little obstacles around here.
In this case, 20 riders attended the training. The concept of the event is simple enough. Riders receive the predetermined route the night before. Each rider departs no later than a given time in the morning using a downloaded app on their phone to navigate. Sweep riders and sweep vehicles are the last to leave and provide mechanical, medical, breakdown and tyre repair support along the entire route.
No stage for off required.
Alright,
As the route is adventure based, all bikes must be fitted with tyres suitable for a wide range of off-road conditions. The riders are encouraged to travel as light as possible with just the essentials for a day ride. Moto Trek can transport their luggage to the next destination while taking the most direct route. More makes, more models. All makes and models are encouraged to attend. On Ridge Rider 3 we had bikes ranging from the Yamaha 250 right through to the 1290 KTMs. I don't mind admitting that the last few days have been tough. We've had to function on about 6 hours sleep a night. We knew that when we signed up. I mean, nobody's grizzling about it, but yeah, long days, early starts, late finishes. But I guess this is the reward to see these blokes, about 170 riders, having a quick meal, quick breakfast, getting some food in their guts, and I guess in most cases, in every case, looking forward to what lays ahead. So yeah, certainly the heartache and misery from our point of view has been well worth it. Huge day yesterday. We must have changed out about 50 sets of tyres. The blokes work like dogs. No grizzling, they just got stuck into it and did what had to be done. So all kudos to the blokes. Well, we're here at the destination friend of day one, which is the Airae resort in Noosa on the Sunshine Coast here in Queensland. A few dramas today. We've had a number of injuries. One bloke's popped or broken his shoulder, a soft tissue injury to a knee, and another couple of others who I believe can't continue riding. So there'll be bikes on the backs of trailers. One bloke's taken himself off to hospital. So yeah, not good for a first day. I think part of the reason might be blokes get excited about this sort of event, and they probably overcook corners a little and maybe get a little bit too aggressive. But I'm sure we'll have less injuries as we continue from here. Let's hope so.
I've got the ridge right on the top.
Oh, that's Ridge Road 1. Ridge Road 2. Oh, the Ridge Just
Ferguson.
Oh dear, broken bikes and broken bones.
I know that the riding was good today. When everybody arrived, it was nothing but big smiles and
Tomorrow's briefing on the beachfront at Noosa. Different sort of venue to hold a briefing.
I go to a restaurant up there, so there's no real requirement to stay here, but if you do, that'll be good, and I think most people are planning to stay here.
Well, it's after 8 o'clock at night and we've only just sat down to have dinner. The support crew on these supported bike rides, they work like dogs, but it's all about the participants enjoying themselves and feeling like they're getting value for money. And I think that's the general feedback that we're getting. I only had a muesli bar for lunch. I'm starving, so I'm going to sit down and have a couple of beers and a few slices of pizza, I think. It was just the reception checking in. They've ordered an ambulance, possibly under lights and sirens, for one of the blokes who had it off today. So things look like it could be pretty serious. I'll know more later, of course. It's before sunrise on day 2. Last night while sitting around the campfire, we're just having a talk and a chat, and it's not until those sort of times that you find out exactly what sort of carnage happened yesterday. We had bikes being binned, bikes being drowned, obviously a lot of overcooking of corners. So yeah, yesterday, I think today the blokes all riders will ride a little bit more conservatively, because they had that sort of carnage on day 1 that's not sustainable. Those bikes that are busted or damaged, we can't take them with us because we have no room. We need those trailers for every breakdown or accident from this point on. So those bikes have got to stay here and the owner just has to somehow try and sort out their own logistics of getting the bike back to their home location. It's unfortunate, but we don't have an option, and they're aware of that. They know that. I'll tell you what, the accommodation here at the Airae CV Resort at Noosa is first class. Very, very comfortable night's sleep. It's just a pity, just a shame that you can't enjoy the surrounds because you're, working like a dog. And I know I've said that a few times, and I'll probably say it a few times more. But yeah, very, very nice place to holiday on shore. The mornings are always going to be hectic. This morning the routine is come here, drop your bags, pick up your lunch, and then make your way into town anywhere to get breakfast and depart at 7:30. Well, we haven't left the hotel on day 2, and we've already got 2 bikes on the trailer. One's from a busted shoulder from yesterday, and the other one's a Suzuki DR650, which are pretty well bulletproof most times. I've got one myself, and we thought it was a flat battery, but it works out. They've been able to source the battery locally. Works out the starter motor's knackered, so we're going to try and ring ahead, see if we can order one at Bundaberg, and hopefully get it repaired and back on the road later on today. You can tell by the banter in the room that, yeah, blokes have had a good day, I think. Yeah. Well, another tough and long day today. Second night. At the end of the second day, we're currently in Bundaberg. When we got here, Jay had organised a tour of the distillery, the Bundaberg Rum Distillery, and a few blokes took up that opportunity. I guess it just goes to show that it's not all about the motorbiking and the adventure riding. There's other advantages in coming along on these sorts of trips as well, just to see places you haven't been before. And in fact, that's part of the idea for a lot of guys. They do these tours just so they can get out of their own backyard and go and explore different parts of Australia. So yeah, another long day, not as many incidents. Who are you chasing? Stand by. Stand by. On call 24/7. Some blokes need some route sheets for tomorrow. Yeah, the other beauty of these trips is that a lot of blokes do them to go and see a different part of Australia they may not have seen before, and that's certainly the case for a lot of them on this one. And the Bundaberg Distillery is an example of that. Anyway, I've got some running around to do. Morning, day 3. It's early. As soon as you're up, hitting the ground running. Well, today I'm not only a baggage handler, but now I'm driving a bus. Versatility and flexibility is the key. Well, we've just pulled over at Gingin for some breakfast at the Gingin Bakery. Delicious meat pies, by the way. And as we pulled up, we got notification of another accident. This one's pretty bad by the sound of it. A busted pelvis, broken hip, something like that. So the ambos are on their way. So yeah, a bit more carnage to start the day. It's only early. It's, you know, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Through those ranges are about 170 smiling faces, because that's the sort of country that these blokes have been driving through the last couple of days.
Yeah, there is here.
Well, we've arrived at destination and now we're back to baggage handling again. Like I say, you've got to be versatile and flexible. This is the destination for day 3, and I just asked one couple how they go, and one bloke said it was the best day he's had in the saddle. So, you know, you can't ask for better feedback than that. That's great. That's great. Gets you a warm, mushy feeling inside. You know you're doing your job right. For our poor mechanic, Peter Moon, his day doesn't start until all these blokes are in. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously running repairs that he's got to do. He can only do so much, of course, but he's been successful in turning some bikes around and getting them back on the road for the following day. So, you know, you can only do so much when you're on the road like this. He doesn't carry parts, can't keep all the bikes on the road, but yeah, he's working like a dog like the rest of us. Just going to check in the room. Because it's day 3, people are starting to get into the swing of things. They know the routine. So, you know, you'd like to think that things are going a bit smoother, and they are. Yeah, been a challenging day for some, from what I've heard. Room 1106, 11th floor. I believe 3 bedrooms, 6 beds. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's got a nice view. Not that you get to see it, it'll be dark before we get in the room, I think. I've just checked in, so I'll go and dump my gear in the room and then go out and relieve some of the others. It's a tough gig. Have I said that before? Yeah. Check this place out. This is living, Barry. Right? This is living. Yeah, there's, I mean, 6 beds. There's 4 of us here. That's, you know, the support crew, the support staff. But very, very comfortable surroundings. And if we're living like this, most of the participants will be living like this too. So, geez, they're being treated like kings and queens. We've got a few of those with us as well. Welcome to motor trekking. The tyre truck has just pulled up with more busted bikes on board, and they've got to repair a couple of punctures before we do anything else. And the sun is slowly setting over there. That's your best angle, you know.
I know you love me, brother.
Well, I just checked on the boys doing the tyres and they're almost complete. It's well after dark. Another morning, day 4. I was checking my health app on my iPhone. I walked 24 kilometres on Sunday. Holy shit. And one of my waistband's loose. Shaking like a leaf now. We had to jump that DR with the dicky starter motor. We thought it was fixed. It's not. And we can't push start a big single cylinder thumper like that. It's just too much compression. So we've had to toe start it. We did that successfully a few days ago. This morning we had to do it 3 times for different reasons, and it just rattles me because it's not the safest thing to do. There's probably some controversial footage out there as a result of that. But yeah, it's a dangerous practice, you need to know what you're doing. Thankfully I've got all the gear and some idea, but yeah, it's rattled me on. Yeah, I'm rattled. Well, I've been driving the bus again today. I had to move busted shoulder Robert and busted ass Mark, the bloke who did himself an injury to his pelvis yesterday. He didn't break anything, he badly bruised. We had some x-rays yesterday at the hospital and was discharged overnight. So yeah, he's not walking real flash, but yeah, nothing was broken. So I guess that's a good thing. I did see his T7. His T7, I did see that in the back of the trailer behind our truck earlier today.
I was on fire, our house, our dreams. We were dancing on a wire, reckless, it seemed.
110 tag. This is the workplace, this is the mobile office. Jay's driving, thinking all the time, of course. The two girls are in the back doing all the office work, and me, well, I'm just along for the ride. We've got enough communication gear to talk to the space shuttle. We got two ways, we got mobiles, we got satellite phones.
0412.
Well, we're here at destination, the McCure Hotel in Townsville, and we've just unloaded the van and the trailer of the baggage for what I hope is the last time. I just want to talk briefly about some of the accidents we've had and the injuries. You know, people got hurt again today. One bloke, I forget what he did, but anyway, the bottom line is he crashed and had to be, he received medical attention. Now, all the accidents we've had, and there's been a few. Firstly, they're all single vehicle accidents. So I don't want to sound harsh, but only one person can be held responsible, and that's because blokes are overcooking corners, coming in too hot. Inexperience could play a part. A lot of the routes have what they call breakout routes, to challenge those guys who want to be challenged. There's 4 different levels. The conditions are explained to them before they leave, that they know, well, they should have an idea on how tough it's going to be. But anyway, as I said, all these accidents are single vehicle accidents. So guys have ultimately been responsible for their own destiny. And I question sometimes, if they had their time over again, would they do things differently? And I think I know the answer. So, as I said, it sounds a bit harsh. And really, in the overall scheme of things, we've got 170 riders. Most have finished successfully, without injury, without damage to equipment. So most blokes were riding within their ability and within the bike's capability. For those unfortunate few, and I guess the worst accident we had was a broken leg, like I say, I'm sure they would do things differently in the future. Anyway, we're here now. All that leaves is the farewell dinner this evening. There'll be a lot of back-slapping and high-fiving, and blokes should be justifiably proud of completing 5 days of sometimes difficult conditions, being glorious weather the whole 5 days. But yeah, most blokes should be pretty proud of their achievements.
This is Max and I in New Zealand when we went over there last February. He goes, oh, there's a little dent in your rim. Well, it's like square, Steve. You've ridden along the face of the damn wall today, for those of you who did that breakout.
It's the morning after the night before. Blokes are suiting up, going home, wherever that is. In our case, we've got 16 motorbikes to load. They're all going back to different drop-off points, back to Maitland, back to our destination. We've got a 3-day drive ahead of us, so we'll get there late Monday, unload, unpack, and then I've got to try and get my sorry ass back to Perth.
Get back, got it.
the domestic airport here in Garbutt. There's a RAF base there. Well, we've left Townsville. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We were hoping to get away by 10. The morning's been spent just doing some admin, ticking off a few boxes and loading 18 motorcycles, all that have been delivered either en route at different places, Brisbane, Ballina, Yamba, and a couple are going all the way through to Thornton at the home base. So it's 1 o'clock now. We're going as far as Rockhampton. That wasn't the intention to leave so late, but we've got a 9-hour drive ahead of us. So even though the trip is finished, so to speak, we're still going to be doing long days for a little while yet, I think. We're just about to pull over for fuel and something to eat. It's just gone sunset now and we've still got about 4 hours of driving, so that'll all be in the dark, which is going to be pretty tough considering the long hours that we've been doing for the last few days. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I guess we don't have any options.
Let that drop off.
Oh. Well, we've had a long break, probably longer than we should have. It's 7:30 now. We're not going to get there much before 11 o'clock. So, yeah, the next couple of hours are going to be tough, I think, after a gut's full of food. Something to drink. Anyway, we'll see how we go.
I never felt like this before. When I was trapped, you showed an open door. Living in a dark, clouded haze, we danced, we fought. We were bound to make mistakes. Real love, we
16-hour day today. It's been tough. And in about 7 hours' time, we get to rinse and repeat. Another big day tomorrow. Another pre-dawn start. We're currently at Rockhampton. We need to be the other side of Brisbane today. We've got a number of motorcycles to drop off en route. We've got to swap the bus out, leave this one behind, it's a rental, and pick up another Moto Trek and Sprinter, which is full of stuff that's been left in Brisbane for a week. So yeah, a lot of things to do along the way. So although distances may not be great, all that's going to take time. Plus it's the weekend, it's a Sunday, there's going to be a lot of traffic returning to Brisbane from the Gold Coast and that sort of stuff. That's Dave.
Morning, people. How are we? On our way home.
He's one of the stalwarts of these sorts of things. He's done a couple. He's Jay's right-hand man. He's a good man to have on your side. Well done, Dave. What a dishevelled looking bunch of schmucks. And this was the Motor Trekking crew. They all look like they're going to the beach. Breakfast and then hit the road.
when I was trapped, you showed an open door. I had no reason to complain. I didn't have the words to explain.
Well, we've just hit the outskirts of Brisbane. On the M1 freeway, we're heading south. The first thing we have to do is hand this bus back. This was a hire bus for the duration of the tour. Once we've handed the bus back, we've got to go and pick up our own Sprinter which effectively had all the shop on board. But Moto Trek had opened their shop at the welcome dinner, and that was repacked on that night and just left here in Brisbane rather than have another vehicle that wasn't performing any function. So we'll hand the bus back, we'll pick up the Sprinter, and then the next thing we have to do is drop off one motorbike, one of the participants' 1250s, and that's just south of Brisbane, between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So it's about 5 o'clock now, yeah, 10 to 5 now. We've still got a couple of things to do and some way to go.
In 600 metres, keep left at the fort to stay on M1. Follow signs for Gateway Motorway, Gold Coast. Use the right lanes to stay on M1. Keep right to stay on M1. Your destination is on the left.
Well, that's the bus handed back. Now it's a case of grabbing the Sprinter, which is still here, been parked here for a week, and heading further south. Geez, talk about being thrown in the deep end. I'm driving a Sprinter, a Mercedes Sprinter. I'm not completely familiar with them. And it's got more fruit than a can of fruit salad, this thing. Bells and whistles. I'm in a foreign land, well, Queensland, if you'll pardon the pun. On one of their freeways, I'm following Jay. I've got Siri in the background guiding me, but there's a lot of activity going on, and it's dark to boot. That's not helpful. We'll get there in the end. We've got to go and deliver a motorbike to, I don't know, south of the city. I'm sure we'll figure it out. It's like doing a drug deal under the cover of darkness in some back alley. Well, the local handball service station. Anyway, one happy customer. He's got his bike back, and when you consider we only left Townsville yesterday, that's not bad service. If he shipped it by a civic contractor, he'd probably be waiting 2 weeks. So, yeah, you can't complain about the service. Now we've got about a 40-minute drive to Broadbeach, check in the hotel, and have a shower and get something to eat. This is the last morning on the road for us. We're currently at the Gold Coast, Broadbeach. We're just moving bikes around from trailer to trailer so that we've got them in order of how they're being delivered and dropped off. So yeah, it's another early start. It's just after sunrise. We should be home. Well, when I say home, we should be at Moto Trek and headquarters by this evening, and we'll spend the next certainly 24 hours unloading and unpacking, and then I'll fly out in a couple of days' time. Another bike delivered, this time under a bridge near Yamba. So, like I said yesterday, just another drug deal going down. Well, that's what it feels like to me. Cloak and dagger stuff. Look, gotta go. Well, we're just about to pull into Airae, and this will be the last drop off for this particular tour, and then from there it's home to Maitland, a couple of hours away. Well, we're just about to pull into Moto Trek and HQ at Thornton near Newcastle. We'll do some essential unloading this evening, tonight, and then head for home and take our boots off, I think. It's been another long day. Well, we've arrived at Motortrekken headquarters. During transiting today, I was riding shotgun with Jay, and we received a number of calls from participants who have, finally made it home after being on the road for a couple of days. And all the feedback was very, very positive, and a lot of praise for the way that Jay and his team run these events. I've got to be honest, I've been around the block more than once and done a number of these supported bike rides as a participant on the other side. But I've got to be honest, Jay puts on a good show, and all the feedback has been positive. They've got good value for money and good bang for buck.
I'm laying up for a week, but I've got security still. I'm gonna roll these.
Well, another big day. We've almost finished most of the unloading. There's still some tidying up to do, washing bikes and that sort of stuff, and the vehicles, of course, but Jay and some of the other crew will do that from tomorrow onwards. I return to Perth. I fly out tomorrow lunchtime. I just want to mention one thing. Collectively, we've covered about 450,000 kilometres. Now, if you or I were to do that,
Dog.
this is what I've had. This is what I've had to work with. Now, if you or I covered 450,000 kilometres individually, we would have crashed. We probably would have broken some bones, and we certainly would have damaged some of the gear. So, in the overall scheme of things, considering we've had a few ops, we've had some, I was going to say minor injuries. That's not the case. Some have been quite serious, but overall, it's been a pretty successful tour, I think. Well, Jay's been good enough to take me to Sydney Airport, Mascot. I'm flying out, returning back to Perth this morning. We're currently transiting underneath Sydney Harbour through one of the tunnels. I should be at the airport pretty soon and fly out an hour later.
Have a good flight. We'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Alright, I'm at the departure terminal at Mascot Airport. I just wanted to briefly say that these motorcycle tours have got a lot of moving parts, and Jay relies on the crew to help put these things together. Most of the crew are volunteers. We don't do it for wages or a salary. We do it for the love of the sport and to help out a mate, and we don't mind it. Our reward is when you see the riders at the end of the day or at the end of the trip with big smiles on their face, and after we receive all the positive feedback, and that's all we've done, receive positive feedback, no negativity at all. So Jay clearly has put together a good show, and if you're thinking of a supporter motorcycle tour, consider Jay and Motortrekken. I have no affiliation with Motortrekken other than helping out a mate. I'm not here to sell a product, that's not what I'm about, but he puts on a good show, ticks a lot of boxes, and gives you bang for buck and good value for money. So if you're thinking about a supported motorcycle tour, give Jay at Motortrekken a call. Anyway, look, if this is the final approach, you know what that means? See you on the other side. Oh, and Rob, this one's for you.